There was no known precedent for the impact of this pandemic.
You've never seen Rome like this before?
No, never.
Italians had to learn the horrors as they were living them. As the country watched the human catastrophe unfold, Italy's government called the first lockdown in Europe. Few here could have predicted how long it would last. From the very first days of lockdown, it was clear the country was in a state of high anxiety.
Come va? Come si sente al momento?
Al momento paura, la gente non è preparata.
E allora? E lei ha paura?
Io non ho paura.
E allora
Non
come
ho
mai
paura.
piange?
Mi emoziono. Tutte queste cose che succedono mi emozionano, ma non per me.
But scratch the surface, and the emotion was everywhere. Aurelio was waiting to be served through a hatch at a pharmacy. Along with food stores, they were the only shops still open. Italians seemed calm, adapting to a way of life few could have imagined. But it was clear almost everyone was dealing with their own personal struggle.
There is a big problem with the mind, with the depression, with the ansia.
Anxiety. And are you worried?
For me, there is no problem. There is 3 weeks, 1 month. I imagine a new situation, really good. Come back to sun.
Italians regularly took to their windows and balconies to sing and play music as they came together to say andrà tutto bene, everything will be all right. But few realised at the start what lockdown would mean. 3 weeks became 8. The deadline extended time and time again. The epicenter of the crisis was the northern region of Lombardy, but containing the virus was a national effort. A strict countrywide lockdown, the entire economy at a standstill.
Ciao!
Ciao.
The financial hardship began before lockdown as Italy emptied of visitors. Even essential workers, considered lucky, were barely coping.
Impensabile
È
questo.
impensabile. 10-15 giorni fa era impensabile una cosa del genere.
E lavoro come va?
Zero. Tutto fermo.
By just day 5 of lockdown, Stefano Cappelli's taxi earnings had already dropped to €30 a day.
E per quanto tempo riesce così?
Io?
Sì.
Non lo so, se non fanno... Non lo so.
1 mese, 2?
No, 2 no. 2 no, assolutamente. Forse 1 mese, forse.
Sì.
By Stefano's predictions, he'd have run out of money around 3 weeks ago. The crisis began to take its toll on all Italians as they watched the horrors unfold in the country's north.
live from Rome on the day Italy became the epicenter of the COVID-19 outbreak.
Italy became a country of unwelcome firsts. The first to show its hospitals overrun with the sick. The first to call in the army to transport the dead. What we were seeing, hearing, was shocking.
Another big rise in Italian numbers.
Yes, Mark, I can't quite believe we're seeing these numbers. 919 people have lost their lives in the last 24 hours in Italy.
There was no frame of reference to predict the events of this pandemic. This new designated COVID hospital in Rome wasn't yet at capacity, but staff clearly overworked already. As we met medics on our tour, we could feel the weight on their shoulders.
You can just feel how stressed everyone is, so...
The pressure was palpable.
That's it.
Questo no, più di così non posso.
But medical staff were also working with the fear of contagion. Protective equipment like this is essential, but hadn't been available in the early outbreak. The extreme precautions needed to protect from this virus, not fully understood. And this has cost the medical community dearly. More than 180 doctors and nurses have died of COVID-19. Another 2 have taken their lives in this period. More than 300 staff at this hospital alone have tested positive. The head of infectious diseases here described the trauma of working with the fear of dying.
We were asking each other who would be the next. And that, of course, is psychologically demanding, also because we are, apart from being colleagues, we are friends. We are also isolated, each of us at home, because we fear also to transfer the contagion to our beloved ones. So if you put all that together, the workload, the fatigue, the tiredness, that is really psychologically demanding.
We wish you all the best, and we are thinking of you at the moment. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you to you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
What they were going through was awful. Italy saw how the virus spread at frightening speed and the slow, painful fight needed to bring it under control. Lockdown conditions were tightened further still. Even exercise limited to the close vicinity of your home. The sense of optimism and hope now hard to find.
In the early days of lockdown, you'd see people singing at their windows and balconies, but you rarely see this at all anymore. It feels like the characteristic warmth of Italians has been replaced by an obsession with personal space. Even the physical act of wearing a face mask seems to have silenced people's spirits. This would have seemed inconceivable 2 months ago. Now, it's almost impossible to imagine life as before.
There's pressure to lift measures sooner in the country's south, where infection is lower, but poverty far higher. This man in Apulia called police after being unable to withdraw his mother's pension, the family's only income. They beg the officers to go to their home to see they have no food. Reports emerged desperate people were raiding supermarkets in Sicily. This fight breaking out in a shop in Campania over someone not wearing a face mask. Another video emerging of a customer refusing to pay. He has no money, he says, but needs to eat. As lockdown slowly loosens from the 4th of May, Italy is debating making face masks mandatory outdoors at all times, not just on public transport and in shops. And police checkpoints are expected to stay for some time yet.
Se mi dà un documento.
Sì, sì, la cerco adesso. He needs a document from you.
We've become used to this. Regular checks to verify why you're outside. But life's tough here, even for those enforcing the rules.
Come?
Speriamo passi presto.
Sì, in bocca al lupo. Grazie mille.
The country with the longest lockdown in Europe is one of the slowest to lift measures. Italy's neighbours were warned of the horrors to come, but here it was too late to prepare. Lessons have been learned from this nation's trauma. And Aurelio's words still ring true so many weeks on.
Se lei ha un messaggio per il mondo, cosa direbbe?
Tenere duro. Tenere duro, tenere duro, tenere duro e tenere duro ancora, perché ci si farà superare.
His words speak for the nation, a nation that's had no choice but to hold on and wait for the darkness to slowly lift.
It's not just people you hardly see here. The sky is empty too. Travel restrictions and border closures have hurt Italy's economy badly. And even after lockdowns lifted here, it's likely to be some time before visitors return.
There's usually a queue of tourists at this doorway on Rome's Aventine Hill. The long wait to look through its keyhole, worth it. A perfect view of St. Peter's Basilica. The end of this crisis may feel just as distant, but it will end, and this ancient city and beautiful country will rise again.